So I'm looking to gain a bit more work experience, and I think I'd really like to be a parish councillor because I'd I mean, I love Werrington. It's a lovely village with lots going on, and it has so much potential. I'd love to reduce, and Zoe told me about the reducing isolation and the food parcels, and I'd love to do more with that. So we have like no poverty, no problems. So everyone has access to all the essentials. And I'd love to do more in implementing I know you've done projects for youth, like youth centres, and I'd love to do a bit more with that in that area as well. And so also about improving the environment, because a lot of people litter on the common and it's not good.
That's true. Is that it, Holly?
Yeah. Sorry, it's not very long.
No problems. Jocelyn, did you want to ask questions?
Can I ask both candidates what they understand the parish council does?
Do you want to go first?
Anyone want to go first?
I don't mind who goes.
You go first. No problem.
Go on then.
Oh, who's going first? Sorry, is it me or Lynn?
You go first then.
You go, Holly.
Okay. So I know that the parish council works to really improve the community, like reducing crime and helping all those in isolation who need it. Trying to get as much equality and access for anyone, like especially like anyone who's disabled or just basically. I know I'm sounding very short and straight to the point. I know it's what you work is. It's basically community work. You're just trying to help the community come together and just make sure like everyone has a good home, is happy, has all these good activities like the socialness and just bringing the community together, and so it's safe and happy, and it really has got the potential to be and even more amazing than it is now. Yeah.
Thank you.
As I understand it, I believe the parish councillors work for the community, the good of the community, to improve life and the things that we come to take for granted. And also, I believe that possibly they should be approachable so that if people in the community need help or to understand things, that they are readily available and will make themselves available so that they can help the people in our community. I would imagine that it's a far-reaching role, being a parish councillor, not only the environment and people's welfare, but places like the moor, if people have got problems accessing things, there's always someone that maybe they can approach, and usually it's a parish councillor. But I'm assuming that if I'm wrong there, somebody will put me right and point me in the right direction of what the role really is.
Teacher.
Any more questions? No? Right, thank you. Well, we're going to have a short discussion. Are we not, Zoe, to discuss the candidates?
Yeah, anyone that is not currently a member of the council, I'm going to put you in the waiting room while a short discussion is held, and then I will bring you all back into the main meeting for the vote. So bear with me while I go down and put everyone in the meeting room.
Are we all back? Yeah. Oh, Sue Brownsaw's not back.
She is. She's coming.
Oh, is she?
It still says joining.
Oh, right. Yes, I see. Oh, yes, she's back. Yeah. Okay. So we go on to vote to co-opt the candidates or not. So those who are in favour for the two candidates, can you show your, well, put your hands up.
You need to do them separately. You need
Right,
to do a vote for each one.
Right, well, we'll vote for Lynn first. Hands up. Who in agreement to having them on the council? Are we all in agreement? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And vote for Holly. We all in agreement? Yes. Thank you. Welcome to the Parish Council. There you go.
Thank you.
You're both on and you can stay for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
I think we need to make clear, Chair, that both of them will need to do basic training. And
Yes,
Zoe will be in touch.
yeah. Zoe will be in touch. It's too soon for the next one, but when it comes up again, you'll be asked to go on the basic training. It's only one, I think it's only one evening, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to do that.
that's fine. Thank you. An opportunity for co-opted councillors to sign their declaration. When will they do that, Zoe?
I have emailed it through to them so that
Right.
they can sign in front of the screen, which enables them to continue the meeting as a councillor. If they'd wish to do that later on, they can stay as a member of the public, but not join in as a councillor.
Okay.
So,
Form.
Lynn, have you got your form there? Did I see? Yeah.
Yeah, she.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to sign that and then hold it up to the screen.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much. I'll be in touch to countersign it and sort all the other paperwork out shortly. Holly, have
you.
Do you
got
want me to
yours?
get it scanned and email it back to you?
Yeah, I don't. Did you send mine in an email?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's okay. If you haven't got it, we can sort it out after the meeting. It's just you can't take part as an actual councillor during the meeting.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
You
I'll
can
sign it afterwards then.
Okay then, thank you. Right, we go on agenda item 5 minutes. Minutes of the last meeting. Have you all read them? Are there any corrections? Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. No. So I gather they're all correct then? Can they be signed eventually? Yes.
Can I just, before you disappear off, Chair, I thought you were doing matters arising. Can I just on page 3, other business, and I'm sorry, it's the co-op, but it's not this, it's something else, because I seem to remember somebody saying that the co-op were being penalised for, co-op staff are being penalised for parking there. They keep getting parking tickets. Because
Yes, they
if
do.
you remember, this 2-hour thing was put in by Bill Day. It was not at the instigation of the parish council. We knew
No, it
nothing about
wasn't.
it till the sign went up.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if we can petition the county council for parking permits for the
Yeah.
well, put your teeth in, Jocelyn. Parking permits for the co-op staff, so they have the right to park there, because it's nonsense that it's
Yes.
costing them money for them to park there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they've stayed open throughout all this COVID business. They've been very supportive of staff. They've been very supportive of the public. And I think it's the very least we can do to try and show support for them.
And they are parking the cars. Neighbours have offered them their space in the driveways for them to park in their drives while they're at work.
Yeah.
Zoe?
But I think we should be petitioning the county council for them to have a parking permit.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, you must have missed it. I did say that I've been in touch with Highways. I know we raised it with Ross and said he'd be dealing with it, but I've contacted Highways myself, and I'm waiting for them to get back to me. I've requested that a meeting's held so that we can pull together all of the issues that we've been contacted about, which includes the contact I've had from the co-op, and then look at what would be a suitable option. So it is in hand. I'm waiting for Highways to get back to them, and I know that David's been dealing with them also, haven't you, David? And
yeah, I've
Ross
actually
and that.
got the 2 application forms that are required from the council to look at both parking permits and revision of the parking restrictions.
Yeah.
Both of those forms. They've also asked for some other details which I'm dealing with as well.
Yeah.
And
And
in it that we are in support of it. It
Yeah.
gives you extra.
the parking is actually for an hour. It's not for 2.
1 hour.
Yeah, it's only for 1 hour.
it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
They've asked for
But as
something.
I say, it went in without any consultation with
It
the parish
did.
council. It was
Yeah,
Bill
it
Day
did.
that put that in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
at
was.
the moment, it's 70% usage maximum.
Yeah. Right. Have we any more? Any more questions on the minutes, please? No? Are we okay?
I'm happy to move them, Chair.
Right, thank you. Now we've got the minutes of the Risk and Asset Management Committee. Have you read those?
Yeah.
Are we fine by those? We all in agreement?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody want to move them?
Somebody from the committee.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. Was that you, Derek?
It was me.
Yeah, yes, fine.
Thank you.
Nervous.
And to consider the recommendation of the Risk and Asset Management Committee. Cheers. There we go. Right.
Barbara,
Where's the
Will I
recommendation?
help, Chair?
I was just going to say, do you it was mainly about the covering of the areas, if you want to speak about that, Derek.
Go on, Derek.
Thank you, Chair. Just to help. I attended the risk management meeting
Yeah.
on the 1st of March. There were Zoe was present, Gemma, David, Sheila and myself. I took the chair and a number of points were raised, Chair. As you'll accept or understand, I'm sure, that it's not a new committee, it's not a new working party, but most of us are new to it. So and there was a fair, for those of you that have all read the minutes, you'll see there was quite a lot of work there to get through, and a lot was adjourned to give us chance to go through things like the risk register, risk assessments, insurance policy, etc. And that's all geared to be discussed at the next meeting, which is on the 6th of April. I think the only thing that at this point in time to come from that meeting, as Zoe said in her opening there, is looking at Werrington Parish as an area and trying to look if we can divide it up amongst the councillors, and then when we have the risk assessment sheets, that perhaps the councillors can look at those areas and put reports in to the council for any action that would be necessary. Also, as well, if there's anybody else on as a parish councillor who would like to join that committee, there are only 4 of us, or there will only be 4. And that's all I've got to say, really, Chair, unless there's something I've missed. But certainly they're looking at the areas of the zones of the parish, and perhaps we need to go away and think about that, unless somebody's got, you know, an idea immediately, and to see which is the best way we can deal with that. I think it's necessary because things perhaps will be getting missed, especially with COVID, things like, you know, broken glass and various other things, pavements, bus stops. There's a number of issues, I think, trees that perhaps that aren't being reported, and perhaps we need to pick up on them to get a plan to dealing with the problems that might arise later on. That's it, Chair.
Thank you, Derek. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you for that. Looks as though you had a good meeting.
Very enthusiastic. It was a good meeting, yeah. I think a little bit frightened at not frightened, but certainly concerned at the amount of work that we'll need to do. But I'm sure we'll get it done, Chair.
Okay, I'm sure you will. Right, agenda item 6, actions, the action plan. I think a lot of it is on hold, isn't it, till we can start going out and about. A lot of it is Ross, the slow down sign, the 30 miles per hour speed limit on Ashbank, that's ongoing. Parking around Moorside High School, I suppose that's ongoing. Speed safety initiative, traffic issues on Withy Stakes, parking lines at the co-op, that's work to be carried out shortly, I've got here. And looking into reinstating yellow lines on Washington Lane opposite the co-op and opposite Coatle Road. Then we've got obtain quotes for lockable crates, that's on hold. Prepare 5-year implementation plans for the sports ground and Hope Council in conjunction with councillors will start a new year. Cost effective employing a parking warden, that's ongoing. Add links for beneficially grants to the websites. Liaise with SMDC regarding parking issues, they're ongoing. Obtain quotes for new height restrictions bar at Miro playing fields. Have we had any? I mean, I know it being confidential, but have we had any quotes for that?
It is down in confidential.
Is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Looking into alternative sources of power for the sports ground, such as solar panels and possible grants available. Drainage issues at front of Lensman's Huts. Look into small alternatives for the Lensman's Huts. Look into installing additional bins and the cost of them being emptied.
I can feed into that if you like.
Okay, go on. Yes, Gemma?
The additional bins, I've been to district, and for an additional bin to be emptied for the year is £250 and we'd need to buy the bin. However, David, what they did say is if you give me a list of the names of the streets that are the main problem with dog fouling and litter, then I can request that area is they continually check on it, and if it is a problem and the district agree that it's a problem, they'll fit a bin for free and they'll empty it for free. So David, I don't know if you want to email me another time just the list of all the areas that you noticed that were causing the problem, and then I'll ask them to keep an eye on it for the set period that they do.
Yeah, I will do.
Okay, thank you, Gemma.
Thank you.
Right, well, yeah, seek advice regarding sowing and maintenance of wildflowers, that's on hold. Is it not, Jocelyn? You're on mute.
Till the weather's a little bit better.
Okay, thank you. Carry out the clerk's appraisal. That's you and I, Jocelyn.
Yes, when are we supposed to be doing that, Zoe?
I'll book a time in. I've completely forgot.
Okay.
We need to be doing
And,
that soon, don't we?
And I do know, I think the wooden flower box has been put by the notice board. Am I right, Tony? Now his picture's gone. Is he still with us?
I'm still with you. Yes, it has been put in.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant.
Yes, because I've got the bill.
You've got the bill out. Oh, I wouldn't
Yes.
have missed. I was gonna
He's given
say-
me the bill,
Yes.
so I can drop it off at your house, Zoe, or wherever. Okay.
Yeah. Can you give it to Jocelyn? I've got a file to pick up from her.
Oh yeah, I'll give
Oh,
it.
well, yeah, just bang on my door.
Okay. Just a minute. Sky, shut up. Right, thank you. Right. Agenda item 7, accounts. There's nobody there. Right, Gemma. Zoe, sorry.
Yeah, you should have had them sent round. I emailed them round.
To approve the February account. Has anybody any questions?
Please to know, Chair, I haven't. Oh, hang on a minute. I haven't.
Right.
But you did send out, so she desperately tried to find it, where you want to start buying stuff across. Here we are, budget report. You wanted to start buying.
Yeah, I need approval for the environments to make
Yeah.
sure all the budgets are in line for year end.
Which begs the question, do we need to revisit the budget? Because if we're buying stuff across backwards and forwards, do we need to look at it again?
Well, it'll change next month. It'll be the new budgets in April.
New budget from next month.
Yeah.
Right, well, in that case, if everybody's happy, I'm happy to move the changes.
Right.
Second it.
We're all in agreement? Yeah. Thank you. And next month's payment schedule, that's been circulated by email. Are we in agreement?
Yeah, move it, Chair.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 8, staff reports. Clerk report. Zoe,
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to catch up writing.
you're okay.
Right, I'll keep it as quick as I can. The first thing I want to say is a big thank you to Gemma and her husband. I don't think you realise what a saving we're getting by Gemma doing things that are beyond her remit and bringing in her husband as well to do odd jobs. Again, not in her remit and certainly not in his. So I just want to raise that with you so that I can show certainly my appreciation, and I'm sure the appreciation of the council as a whole for
I
that.
think we should record that, Chair.
Yes, record that, yeah.
Councillor's appreciation of the hard work.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Then British Cycling update. Our second stage is going to their board on Thursday of this week.
Yeah.
I've been in contact with them. They needed clarification on a few matters, and it was very positive. The lady I spoke to said that ours was a very strong application and very detailed. Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. She said she was more than happy to be presenting that to the board, which is a good sign. So fingers crossed on Thursday we get the funding for that. I'll obviously keep you updated.
Thank you.
Another one is the matter of climate change. I did apologise to Jocelyn. She had asked me to put it on this agenda, and I'd completely forgotten. But there's things about getting a water butt. Unfortunately, we missed the funding for that because we did not have time to apply for that. I was doing the other funding application at the time, but there will be other funds available.
Yeah. I think I would actually, if I may interrupt, Chair, say that we probably need 2 water butts, because we're spending a fortune on water on the allotments, and you've got a lot of allotments down there, and I'm not sure 1 water butt will be enough. But having said that, how much is a water butt?
No idea.
I've no idea. I'm
I'm
sorry.
going to say, have we got to wait for funding? Can we not get at least one water butt down there?
I'll do some research if you want.
Okay, Gemma.
Thanks, Gemma.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jocelyn has requested that it's put on the agenda for the next meeting.
Time, because it's something
So-
we need to discuss, Chair.
Yes.
It's
We'll
all
have it
other
as an
thing.
agenda item next time.
Yeah, so the climate change agenda will be put on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
and ideas of what we as a parish council can do to contribute towards reducing our carbon footprint, etc.
Okay.
Then the other two are just a couple of personal things. I can't remember whether we've got another meeting before it or not, but I would like to request the second week of Easter off. And it is that time of year again, everyone, where you won't be hearing very much from me because it's year end. So
Okay.
that may be a good thing for you, that I'm not bugging you all the time, but please, if there is something that isn't an urgent matter, then either hang on or mark it in an email not urgent, or maybe mark it urgent if it is, because I do need to get all of the year-end stuff in order and prepare for our internal audit.
Right.
So
So somebody needs to collect this file off me then, don't they?
that's why I'm going to pop up and collect it, yes. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. So don't think I've disappeared. I haven't. I've got the fun job of going through all the yearly accounts and closing everything down for year end.
Well, as I say, just give me a ring and let me know you're on your way.
Will do, Jocelyn. And is everyone okay for me to have that second week?
Yeah.
Of Easter
Yes,
off?
absolutely.
Problem. Yeah.
Okay. Unless anyone's got any questions for me, that is my report.
Right, Gemma, you're on next.
I've got a list as I always have, but I'll just do the ones that aren't for confidential. So we've already covered the litter, haven't we? And David's going to give me the street names. Signs. Is everybody happy with the signs? Did you all see the images?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got any issues, or can I go ahead with the signs?
No, move, we go ahead, Chair.
Yeah.
No issues.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. What about the proposed pitch maintenance plan? What did we think?
No problem with it.
No. Fine.
No.
Brilliant, thank you. Right, the gates, the fence and the gates. We've had a terrible, really bad problem with trespassers. Now schools are back open, I'm hoping it's not going to be as bad. They're all separate groups of people because I've moved them off every single time. There's been people from the MIA, and the way they've been getting in is where the new double gates are. The left-hand one, as you look at it, had got a gap, and you can shimmy underneath it. And they were parking, they'd come in a car, so they're obviously not that young. They park in front of the gates and then shimmy underneath the gates and go and play football. I've spoke to the Trentham Fencing, £200 they want to put something proper there. My darling husband has done something makeshift. I don't know if you want to, we can discuss that in confidential if you wanted to go down Trentham Fencing route, or if you're happy with what we've put in place to block it off so nobody can go underneath. So that's the gates. We can talk about that in confidential in case you did want to go with Trentham Fencing. So, and the next one was defib access, that the wasps can't. Sorry, I've stopped someone. No.
No.
The defib that the wasps kindly donated, the casing for it is now on the external wall. And we had a meeting with wasps last week, and when I open the ground before their bookings, if they do decide to stay with us, the defib will be placed in there and it'll have a combination lock on there. so that all the managers or everyone that's booked the pitches will know that combination lock, so that if they ever, heaven forbid, ever need access, everyone can get access. I'll also let the 101 number know the combination as well, and the times that it'll be available for extended public use in case Shuckers Farm, for example. So that was the defib. And then when I lock the building back down, the defib will be taken out of the case and locked away within the building, so it's not always on that wall. So is everybody happy with the defib and the where I've placed it and everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Defib, can I ask, Chair, the defib is only going to be available when the ground is in use. It's not been available other
No.
than that.
No.
They
No.
won't be able to access because the gates are locked.
Yeah, and because it'll get stolen. It's been stolen outside the Auctioneer's Arms in Caverswall. It's been ripped off the wall. They are getting stolen. So ideally, when the ground isn't in use, it'll be put inside and locked away properly. The other issue that I wanted to bring to council's attention was trespassing. Like I've just said, it's been really, really bad. Yesterday evening, it was 5 o'clock and there was 20, group of 20 that I moved off. Sean Shucker rang me, so I went straight up. Off they went over the back fence, so they have to go all the way through Shuckers Fields to get back to Werrington. I cut them off in the lanes and had a discussion with them to why. And the reason why they're using it is because of the nets. Well, the nets are no longer on because the windmill have chained the goalposts together, and they have got all the little goalposts that they've got access to. So I think they need to go into the container ideally, but I'll need to liaise with the wasps to make some room for them to go in the container. But something I was going put forward was perhaps the possibility of nets for Mee Road. So the children, because they are Werrington residents, just the same, have access to football if it's nets that they're so bothered about, and they have it at Mee Road. So that can be something we can discuss further in the confidential. Then my final one, I'm not sure if this is in the confidential. No, has it got an actual point, Zoe, for Jason and his event?
Yeah, that has. Your booking
I'll
fees.
save that then.
Your booking fees aren't confidential though, because they should be public knowledge.
Oh, aren't they? Okay, so booking fees. Is everybody happy with the booking fees that I proposed?
Yeah, not a problem.
And we'll start them from the 1st of April. Obviously, teams won't be in a position to afford them upright. So between Zoe and myself, we were going to discuss a payment plan to make it affordable for the teams. I did propose a 50% reduction for the existing teams for year 1 and a 20% reduction for the existing teams for year 2. Not for new bookings, just for the existing teams of the Wasps and the Windmill. Is that something that council supports or not?
I'm happy to support that.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, Derek.
I would support a discount to the existing teams, Chair.
Yeah, thank you. All in agreement? Yeah. Thank you.
That's everything for the public forum that's on my list then in my report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Gemma. Lensman Shed, to consider recommendations to repair or replace.
I sent everybody a report for that, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then I did have another middle of the night idea that perhaps if you did choose to demolish it, I know Jocelyn wanted a tap. So should we demolish it, have a tap in its place that's lockable, and see how we get on without one to see if we do need one?
I think, Chair, I think we do need one, because I know in the past what's happened is they've litter picked on the fields, and it's been stored in the shed until it could be collected. So I think we've got to have something. But that shed, I think, personally, I think that shed needs replacing. I mean, it's diabolical. and it's
Well, we had a leak. We had a burst pipe. When was it, Zoe? The week that it was really, really cold. Was that 2 weeks ago? And then
Yeah,
it
and then
warmed
when
up.
it warmed up, we got a leak.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
and it was a leak.
I can well
All
believe,
over the electrics.
I can well believe, but I do think we need a shed, because at the end of the day, the Lensman needs somewhere.
It's
True.
the contents that's in the shed I needed to talk about as well, because there's stacks and stacks of chairs. There's two that are no use to anybody now because they're all mouldy, because they were cushioned bases. There's
Right.
2 barbecues. There's a few gazebos.
Yeah,
There's
that's all young person support group. Normally, Gemma, in the first week in July, we have a play day, away day. And the gazebos and the chairs and what have you have always been used for that. And the problem's been, of course, that there's only so much that we could, you can't have an outdoor event without gazebos.
yeah.
And so we've got some that are stored, but it was a storage issue again, which is why we need something there. Not necessarily that shed, but something. But the chairs were for us to sit on, which is a pity if they're all mouldy, because it means we're going to have to replace them, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, because
That's what
I don't
all
know if
that is for, because we couldn't do it last year, and
Yeah.
it's unlikely that we're going to be able to do it this year. But normally we have this away day on the first Saturday in July. We have a big fundraising event.
yeah, so I provided the quotes for the containers to replace the hut.
Yeah.
The 8-foot didn't really make much of a difference in price because you have to have that brand new, whereas the 10-foot they recondition, so you're getting it second hand and they're reconditioning it, so you don't really make that much of a saving. If it was something you wanted me to go for, then I'd have to really look into the demolition, the removal of it all, the disconnecting of the electrics, the disconnecting of the water, and then the reconnecting to it, so it doesn't just stop at the quote for the hut. We'd still need to take all those other things into consideration, because those quotes that I provided you with were just for the container and the provision for the electricity and the provision for the water, but not actually connecting them, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. Zoe?
Yeah, about the shed, I agree with Jocelyn that some storage space is needed because the Lensman does collect the bags prior to them being collected on a Thursday. And as you know, if they were left out up there, they'd be ripped open and all over the place. My question is, if the stuff in there doesn't belong to the parish council, why are we paying for, in a sense, paying for storage for another organisation? I thought we'd asked that all the other organisations had removed all their stuff.
You haven't got anywhere to remove it to, is the simple answer.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
that
really
doesn't
fit for
mean,
purpose anymore.
it doesn't mean the parish council have to provide the storage space, though.
It's a grace and favour thing.
Because all I'm thinking is, if we can get away with a small storage shed for our needs of just a few bags of rubbish, the water, you said, I know water may be needed for the Lensman, but why should the parish council pay for a larger storage unit for items that aren't parish council property? Because otherwise we'll have other groups saying, well, why can't you store our stuff? I know there might be historic things there, and I know that there's members of the council and members on different groups, and that's probably how it's come about.
It is.
But I'm speaking as the clerk. I have no involvement in any of the groups and everything. As the clerk, I'm saying to you, why are you paying out money to store stuff for another group when we could save money and just have our own storage space?
Are you saying that the gazebos are ruined as well, Gemma?
The gazebos are in the boxes, so I couldn't comment on them, but the chairs are wrecked. The gas cylinder shouldn't be in there anyway. There's park equipment. I don't know until I've done some further investigation to if that's repairable and can go back up. I don't know who's done it, but it's on a concrete base, and somebody somewhere along the line has then placed a rubber matting on top of the concrete base, which has just created loads of silt and mud to come all the way through. So that's a nightmare. That needs to come out. I gave on the report, there was a list to repair it, and there was the possibilities of replacing it and what we could replace it with. I just think it's perhaps something that we could do with maybe getting our heads together in a separate time and having a big discussion about what you want to do with it. Because I mean, really, if it's just rubbish, you can have a cage there. Doesn't have to be a hut, it can just be a cage.
Yeah, but he needs
And there can be a
somewhere
tap
to go.
in there as well.
You've got to
Yes,
have
sir.
somewhere for your Lensman to go.
Go for
Yeah.
what though?
Shelter, go and have his lunch. Where does he go for his lunch?
They're self-employed, aren't they? So it isn't for us to provide a welfare unit when somebody's self-employed.
Oh, I don't think, yes, no, but you've still got to provide something for the poor man. You can't give them nothing.
That's anybody else got any observations?
But Jean's sitting there wishing she could speak.
David, you're on mute.
I think that's one we've got to.
I think, Chair, we need to have a further discussion on this.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, I think we need to talk this through.
Yeah. We'll have it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else on the Lensman shed?
No, do you want me to just leave the contents where it is then until the next meeting?
Yes, well, let's have a think about it, because if you are going to demolish the shed, it means A, the chairs have got to be disposed of, but we've also got to do something with those gazebos.
Yeah.
And the 2 barbecues.
And 2 barbecues, yes.
Yeah.
And the gas bottles.
Yeah, and the gas bottles, yeah, and the tool kit, and the swings, and there's loads of park equipment and 2 sheets of fencing in there. Yeah, there's loads.
Is there any storage space at the sports ground, Gemma?
No, the wasps have got it in the container. And ideally, I'd like that container for the goalposts to go in to stop the kids wanting. They're like magpies, aren't they? They're attracted to the goalposts, and if we can get the goalposts in the container, then there's nothing there to attract them from any other field.
True. That's very true.
Chair,
Yes, Derek.
is there any storage at the bowling green, Chair?
No idea. I've never been. That's terrible to admit, but I haven't. And I've lived here 45 years.
Yeah,
I
mate.
mean, I don't know. I don't
hang
know
on.
who the young person's support group are, and I wouldn't like to, just exit them and
Yeah.
from that unit, especially if it's in the community and it's, the equipment's being used. Although it sounds from Gemma that it's past past use now. I hope that we don't get charged for it.
No.
But I just wondered if perhaps, any storage at the bowling green.
Let me bring
Tony
Tony.
can answer that question.
Tony?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. No, there isn't. Tell you that now.
Oh,
It's only a prevailing effect, and it's pretty well full already with bowling and stuff. So
Okay.
there'd be no room there.
Okay.
Cheers, Tony.
Right. Well, as I say, we'll discuss it further at the next meeting. Okay. Right. Agenda item 10, events, bookings policy and plan. To consider adopting a policy for events bookings at the sports ground and Mee Road playing fields. Once events bookings have been established, to develop a plan for future events. Zoe, is that you?
Partly.
Right.
What I don't want to happen with Mee Road and the sports ground is for every time we get a request to use it, we have to bring it to the council. That's not the idea of running a sports ground or area. We should have a policy in place that says if it fits, in this criteria, then providing the facilities are available on that day and won't cause any damage to other things we've got booked in there. So we're not going to have some horse trampling all over football pitches and that sort of thing. Then yes, the booking can be made. It shouldn't be, oh, somebody's asked to use it, we have to take it to council.
Yeah.
The council should agree the policy, and then it's up to Gemma as managing and responsible for that area to implement that policy and say, okay, does this request fit what we've agreed? Yes, it does. Therefore, if it's free and it won't conflict with anything else, I can just say, yes, you can have the booking. If something comes in that is out of the ordinary, then it can come to council to consider. You know, Gemma can say, oh, we've had this in. It's not something that would normally fit with the policy, but it could be a good idea. And then the council could consider it. But I just think it's silly bringing everything to yourselves all the time when they're all very similar.
Yeah.
And Gemma's more than capable of following a policy to say whether we can have that booking or not.
Perfect sense, Chair.
So
Yeah.
that was one part of it. If you are happy for us to develop a bookings policy, and we'll
Yeah.
do it for Mee Road as well.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do the two, even though there'll be separate policies because of the different uses. The other thing was, at our meeting with WASPs, we had discussed an event management plan. Now, I must admit, when I first spoke to Howard about it, I didn't really understand what it was. And that was when I put the agenda together, and I was thinking, oh, an event management plan. We've got a plan to put up of all the events we've got over the coming year, which I think would be a good thing to do as we get bookings in, keep the public informed of what events we've got on. Then after the meeting, I've now got a better understanding of what an events management plan is. And this ties into the work Gemma's been discussing with Jason from Funky Fillers about a big celebration event in the summer when we're allowed to. And that's what an events management plan would be more about. So that was my bit. It was about getting a policy in place. And if you're happy for that, myself and Gemma can devise one.
Yeah.
And then I'll hand over to Gemma, if that's okay, Gemma, to update them on the discussion you've had with Jason.
Yeah, I sent everybody Jason's email this afternoon. I'm not sure if you all have managed to read it in time, of what his intentions are. His intentions are that the August bank holiday weekend, the Saturday and the Sunday at the sports ground would be a ticketed event. He would do the event management plan. He would source the insurances. With the event management plan goes hand in hand with all the district council's licenses and everything to run that event, and all the traffic control, etc., etc. It all comes in the event management plan. And he was happy to take on that and run the event. Basically, the Saturday and Sunday would be ticketed. Werrington residents would take priority. The Monday, what his plan would be a family fun day, and that would be free, celebrating the end of COVID.
Everybody supposes it is the end of COVID.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. Yeah, so what my proposal was to ask if you were happy for that to take place at the sports ground, and charging him at the cost that we've agreed tonight on the hiring costs. But what I was going to propose was he's charged for the use for the Saturday and the Sunday, but the Monday, because it's a free event, as a parish, can we provide the sports ground for free?
Makes sense to me, Chair.
Yeah, does make sense. Yeah. What do the others think? Makes sense to me, that does. Yes, Derek?
I'd like to see the plan before I comment, Chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the way I see that, I'm just approving somebody to go and do what they want to do.
True.
I'm not
At the end of it, should it go wrong, or should there be a problem, it will come back to the council.
That
This
comes
is-
with the management plan, doesn't it?
The event management plan, it's a broker that does it, and Jason can get it for a lot cheaper because he's organised lots of events. He's done like the ice rink at Trentham Gardens and things. But with the event management plan, he'd have his own insurance, but all the district council's permissions are part of that event management plan. So I think without us saying he can hire the sports ground, there'd be no point in him going forward with an event management plan because he's got nowhere to hold it. So what's the point in paying all that money out for an event management plan, if you get what I mean? But I totally understand where you're coming from, Derek. You're worried that there's a risk for the parish council, but really it's the district council that's signing it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Is the way I understand it anyway. I could be wrong, but that's the way I understand it. Is it district council?
In principle, Chair, I have no objections at all.
Right.
And with Jason at the helm, I have no worries at all. But that's just like saying, approve that blank piece of paper to me. I mean, it's all right talking about a family fun day. What does that mean? You know, what will actually happen on the ground, you know?
Yeah.
It's stalls. It'll be stalls and it'll be games.
Yeah.
It'll be very similar to the fun day that we run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first Saturday in July, but as I say, which is extremely popular.
Yeah.
So I think a fun day will go very well.
We need something, Chair. We need something to live.
Yeah, well,
To live
once
the
we, if
community
we,
and the
yeah,
spirit.
can I suggest, Chair, that we agree in principle that yes, he can go forward and do the event management plan, but we would like more information on exactly what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Yeah, I think so, because we need to be clear on what he wants to do. Yeah. Zoe?
I was going to say pretty much what Jocelyn just said. If
Yeah.
you're all happy for the idea of it,
Yeah.
providing those dates are free, then I suggest you give sort of approval for the booking in principle, subject to all
But
of their
for
paperwork,
information.
the plan coming in and getting the licenses and everything.
Are we allowed as a council to hold a separate meeting with Jason just with regards his event or not?
Yeah.
You can
Can
hold
do.
what meetings you
Yeah.
want, it just wouldn't be a formal council meeting.
Yeah.
So should I arrange that then, do you think?
Yeah, you can do.
Would that
Why
work
not?
better?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No harm in doing that.
Jason was hoping to be here tonight,
was,
wasn't he?
yeah.
He said he was busy. But if
Yeah.
he can give us some idea of exactly what he's selling tickets, I'm assuming it's a rock concert that he's selling tickets for. I'm assuming.
That'll please
I
me.
don't know, but I'm assuming it's a concert.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not as if there's a lot of houses around there that will.
Just cows.
They can sing to the cows.
Yeah, true.
I'll
Yeah.
speak to him then and I'll get some dates of his availability and then
Okay.
forward them to yourselves for some dates. And then hopefully we can meet together with a meeting so we can actually tell you his full intentions.
Yeah. That'd be great. Thank you,
Right.
Gemma.
Thank you.
Going on, agenda item 11, training. Is that something you were bringing up, Zoe? To consider play equipment inspection training for the deputy clerk?
Yeah, as you're aware, with not having the Lensman available, and we still have no idea when or if he'll come back. We haven't got anyone doing the weekly checks on the play equipment. Now,
Yeah.
the options are that Gemma undergoes training, which she said she will happily do, and then she carries them out, or we buy in a company to do it. I didn't know you could do this, but I had an email from one, so it's just one example I've had an email from, where they'll do quarterly inspections, which is one of your annual inspections that we pay for anyway, followed by 3 operational inspections, around about £500 for the year, and that includes routine lubrication, tightening of loose fixings, etc. And then there is a monthly one that's more like £1,000. So the options are: do you pay for Gemma to attend the course, although at the moment I couldn't find any dates for any running at the moment, or do you put it out to another company to do them? But we need somebody to do it.
Jocelyn.
Well, I was going to say, are there any dates available? And if they are, if there's a cost, we should meet it.
Yeah.
But if there isn't, and we do have to do something, can I sort of suggest that we get one done? So we've done something, because we can't afford to do nothing.
We've just
And
had the
if a
annual
date becomes-
inspection.
Yeah,
Oh,
and if
yeah.
a date becomes available, then we ask Gemma very kindly if she will take it on.
I'm going every week. I conduct the checks every week of the park anyway, but just with sensible checks. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm not qualified, so I just make sure that the equipment's safe to use. I do need to devise a proper checklist so it's all auditable, that it's been checked weekly. I do need to do that, but I do, when I go up and do the sports ground checks once a week, I then go on to the Mee Road Park and check all the ball court and the play equipment. But I do sort of know what you're looking for, because it's common sense, isn't it? But a lot of it where things are working loose and stuff like that would be taught on the proper ROSPA course, and that's what I'm not qualified to do, whereas the Lensman was.
Yeah.
Right, well, in that case, Chair, can I suggest that as a short-term temporary measure, we get a private contractor in, so that something is done and we've got a record of it being done, because if something goes wrong, we're stuffed. But in the meantime, whatever comes available, Gemma does, and we pay for it.
Zoe, when was the annual inspection?
January. We've only just had it done.
All right, so it's been done.
So it's
Yeah.
been done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's all right then. So it's
Yeah.
been done.
So I would look to see when dates are available, if there's any up and coming. Okay. And then if
Okay.
there isn't, then we can look for having it done. Thank
Yeah.
you. Agenda item 12, correspondence. Have you any correspondence, Zoe?
There's no additional correspondence to the one you've got.
Right then, if you'll bear with me, I've got to find these emails now. I had them all planned and they've gone off. So I do apologise. It'll take me a few minutes to, oh, here we go. Got them. Right. Mr. Meakin, Nigel, has asked for the email trail from the last parish council. Oh, goodness, sorry. Hang on. From the last parish council meeting. So I will read out exactly how they've come in, how I've replied. Okay. Right, just a minute. I have written them down as well, just in case, but I've written them in shorthand, so I might get a bit, if all else fails. Right, the first one was from Nigel. Good morning, Zoe. Hope you are well and keeping safe. In the public question time of the February Zoom Parish Council meeting, I asked the 4 councillors who voted on my application to be co-opted onto the council to explain verbally and in writing the reasons I had not had my application accepted. Most councillors gave a verbal response, but I did request a written response from all who had voted. It was agreed through the chair that a response would be received within 7 to 10 days. I still await that written response. I am now serving the final notice of said response. Please give your urgent attention. Regards, Nigel. I replied, morning, Nigel. Apologies. I've just seen your email. Would it be okay if I email a response to you, or do you need it in writing? Only at the moment I'm able to drive to post a written response to you due to a leg injury. Regards, Barbara. So then you've replied on the February 19th. Many thanks for the response, Barbara. An email is fine. Could I ask you request the same from other councillors? I replied on the February 20th. No, hang on a minute. Yes. No, sorry, February 19th. Thank you, Nigel. I will ask the other councillors to do the same. At this time, I cannot and will not ask Councillor Nicol, as he's in hospital, quite ill. Hope you will understand why I will not ask Jean to ask him. And you replied on the 20th, thank you, I don't understand about Tony. And then I replied to you on the 23rd of February, further to your email with regard to you not being co-opted onto Werrington Parish Council and your wish to have the reasons in writing. As explained at our February meeting, none of the sitting councillors gave you their vote. The reason for this was that your behaviour and conduct on social media and during public question time meant that you were not a suitable candidate for co-option. Regards. And you wrote, Barbara, many thanks for your email. May I request emails from others who were on the panel explaining reasons you have explained about Tony? And I replied on the 23rd. That was you replying to me on the 23rd, and I replied again on the 23rd. As the decision was made by the parish council as a whole, and the debate and any reasons given at this time form the basis for the council's resolution, it is not up to individual councillors to provide reasons for their decision. Then you replied, and I haven't got a date for this one, to be honest. It hasn't put a date up, but you replied saying, Barbara, you did state in previous email that you would ask other councillors for their comments. I take it you have now decided against this. Just for clarification, councillors involved in the decision are Councillor Hughes, I presume you mean Morrison, because you put Morris, Hill, Normington and McNichol, please confirm. Now, hang on, I've got to go back because it's left one off. And I don't seem to have the next one. No, that was the last one, I think. I haven't got any more. That's the last, that's where it finishes. That's it, thank you. Oh, I think, just a minute. Hang on, there is another, yeah. Hang on a minute. On 23rd of February, after that one, sorry, I've written it down, I don't know where it's gone off the thing. It says, we took advice on whether individual councillors should respond, and we were told, as it was a council decision, individuals should not respond, only myself as being chair. And then you sent another one, and it said, whilst I accept this was your reply, you will recollect that other councillors, namely McNichol, Morrison and Hill, gave a more personal reason. And then, fortunately, there were members of the public on the Zoom meeting who have confirmed what I heard. I have taken advice on this matter and will be taking the next step. You will see that I have copied the clerk in this email. I would like the full email trail reading out in correspondence at the next parish council meeting. And that was the last one. Right, thank you. Any more correspondence? No.
I've not received any.
Right, council updates. Now then, I meant to read this out. I apologise, from Ross, but it's something that I was going to say anyway, the first thing, and he was on about the Leek minor injuries. We had a meeting last Wednesday where Neil Carr came, and people seem to think that that was closing. It was never going to close. It was always reopening. Unfortunately, some councils in Leek have gone around saying, oh, they've kept it open. No, it was reopening anyway. It wasn't closing. And it is going to reopen in June. I believe the 21st has been mentioned. They're waiting for, obviously, the COVID numbers to come right down so that the GP service at the Royal Stoke can go back in there, and then they can staff the Leek Minor Injuries Unit. They're going to look at the opening times, not of Leek Minor Injuries Unit, but of the Haywards, because of course they've extended them at the moment from 7:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. So that's what they're going to look into that, I think, to reduce their working hours as well. And he also, this one is what Ross has asked me to say, that after the elections, as we all know, it's county council elections in May, the county council are looking at, just a minute, let me, looking at loneliness and isolation. And Ross is putting forward Werrington, with us having a very high elderly population. And but that's if he gets re-elected, obviously. But he is going to put Werrington forward for that, but that's for later to happen. And that's all I've got about the. We did have a full council meeting last Wednesday, which was okay. Some people got a bit aerated, but hey ho, never mind. I don't think there's anything else to report on. Oh, there's a parish assembly coming up. I'm on it. There is a space if anybody else wants to be on it. They're quite welcome. They can be quite. Pardon?
Used to be.
It used to be Jean McNichol.
McNichol, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But there is a space if anybody wants to go on. Yes, Zoe.
I'm not putting my hand up to volunteer.
Aren't you, Zoe? Carts can go, you know.
I get invited anyway. I will go one of these days. No, what I was going to say is just a reminder that in May, all these positions will be refilled anyway.
Yeah.
So
right.
yeah, we'll have all of the shuffling about of things in May and allocating to different roles.
Yeah. Okay then. So think about it. It can be quite interesting. The Christmas one.
I've shared it.
Well, the Christmas one seems to be the best. Not for me because I don't like it, but they do serve mulled wine on Christmas meeting. But that's the one that seems the most popular. Right. We're now going into confidential items. So if the public are still here, and I don't think we've got any press, can we exclude them? And thank you for joining the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, so if you are a member of the public or press, which I don't think we've got, but no. We are moving into confidential items now. So if you would like to remove yourselves, please.
Do you need me to remove?
Lynn, you've signed your document, so you can stay. Holly, unfortunately, you haven't yet, so you won't be able to stay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, I'll be in touch with you shortly.
Nice to meet you, Holly.
Yeah.
You as well.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Holly.
Bye.
We got.
I think no, we've still got Chris Brown's sword on.